Hey friends, I'm happy to announce that starting in 2019, you can join me and a team of 10 other bright-minded individuals that want to improve their work game to do the first ever 10-week Circle of Trust training camp. We'll meet once per week and tackle an important topic of the week, where you'll be able to watch along with the video conference that brings us all together. And while you're there, you can ask questions and make sure you understand how that week's topic breaks down to your unique career challenges. After each session, you'll receive worksheets created by me if needed, and always an audio recording to listen back to any notes you may have missed or a class that you had to skip. But don't skip too many classes, or Professor Bricky will come looking for you. We'll be looking at topics like determining your value, setting up a contract, negotiating terms, and the very unique way to manage money as a freelancer. And these are just 4 of the 10 weekly classes. To learn even more about the Circle of Trust training camp, reach out to me at aid.network/contact. Training camp begins at the end of January. Hurry, only 10 spots available. Start your year off with new business cards. Create a lasting impression with Colored Edge business cards. 5 paper stocks from everyday thin to ultra thick. Color Edge ultra thick business cards feel like something special and make people remember you and your message. With 22 colors, including fluorescents and metallics for your edge, standard, square, circle, and custom shapes, you can always make something that stands out in the marketplace. As quick as a 5-day turnaround with custom paper, thickness and shapes and finishes and foil stamping, you can make a lasting impression for another year of quality business. Get your order started today with 250 cards as low as $111. Save even more by going to jackprince.com/Circle of Trust. Remember, no shipping, no hidden fees.
You're listening to the AID Network.
Time again, new month, a new slew of TV offerings. Although this month, December, it's a little tight. It's a little tight. So we're going to do things a little bit different because, well, December yields so much busy life that it doesn't yield a lot of great entertainment life. Connie Collinsworth, welcome back to Comment Below. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think that might be the first time I ever called you ma'am. Felt kind of weird. This is the thing about December. And why I always try to match my career off of the big guys. TV knows our schedule. They know when to promise their advertisers the most amount of eyeballs, the most amount of asses in seats. So when I pick my podcast schedule, I always, for the last 5 years now, I've become a real student of network TV. And if you look at the offerings this month, they are slim. And it's all in the first half of the month because they literally know that after the 10th or the 11th, putting new content out is just a failure. It's not going to work out for anybody.
Now, even for homebodies like myself, December becomes the time that you're socially pressured to go be festive and see people and visit and do stuff that you don't want to do sometimes, but you'll go and do it because it's the time to do it. So, yeah, the viewing thing for me, I tend to do like fall back into some old favorites and devote some time to that. And then it's a good time for it because there isn't a whole lot new.
Yeah, I do enjoy the quiet around the holidays to sort of catch up because there's still things that I have for my October list that I haven't gotten into. And I have things for my November list, which I hardly even was able to put a dent in. But I still have my list. I still have them near and dear to my heart. And I was almost excited when I saw that we had a really soft month because I'm like, there's things that I really want to get to. It just hasn't been the right time. And if something's important to me, I want to get up. I want to have a cup of coffee. I want to watch it on my, my big TV. I want to sit in the dad chair and enjoy it. I don't want to have it on an iPad off the side of my iMac while I'm listening to 3 other sources of audio and just kind of be like, whoa, what happened over there? So I'm excited for it, but when I look back at Thanksgiving weekend that, just passed, I had a lot of TV hours and I was like, let's rock some Christmas movies. You know what I mean? So you do kind of you take a little bit of the quiet time to do some entertainment nostalgia, which, I mean, hell, that's part of the fun of all this, right? Is going back to the classics or trying to discover some new ones.
Yeah. This break was crazy for me because this is the first time in forever Stacey had like 3 weeks off during this month. Yeah. All around Thanksgiving. And I had in my mind, like, oh, I've got all this TV piled up and Mark and I are talking about all these shows and we're going to watch them. And instead, what we did was rewatch some things that I had watched that she didn't. And I was like, I know you're going to like this, but you've got to sit down uninterrupted, not thinking about going to work tomorrow or what else is going on, and dive in. So we did a rewatch, for me, a rewatch, and for her, a new watch of Westworld.
How every episode, both seasons?
Both seasons, every episode.
How hard is it to get through that second season a second time? Does it get better? Do you see more of the breadcrumb trail, or was it just agonizing and you had your phone out a lot?
I did not have my phone out a lot. I was surprised. I don't have as bad opinion of season 2 as you did. And I found so much more, and I went to like a deeper level, which related to the show is like, I guess like a metaphor for that is like, I was seeing things connecting that I already knew connected, but then thinking differently about them.
Right.
So, and for her, it's always fun to like sit there and know what's going to happen, and then like have her like stop the show, and say, oh, well, so-and-so's so-and-so. And did I get that right? Did I get that? I'm like, you just got to watch. I'm not telling you, I'm not spoiling it. Because
that's a show, even though when you think you know what's going on, there's misleading trails so that, you have no idea that X person is a robot or X person is two of the same characters in a scene as the same person from two different timelines. Like, I wish that Westworld, even though I enjoy the amount of money that HBO puts into it, I do wish it was more of a Netflix or Amazon Prime where you could just literally watch them all in a few days so that you don't have that 6 days of being like, okay, which version of Bernard are we looking at right now? You know what I mean? Like sometimes the 6 days is so crucial on that show.
I think that's why I enjoyed this. I thought about that while I was watching it. I was like, this is so much better than when I had to sit each week and get mad at an ending that left me hanging and wondering and realizing I have to wait till the next week. And then I knew it was going to happen again. It was just wham, bam, bam, bam. And it was much more satisfying. So I recommend anybody that kind of likes it and maybe only watched it once, take some time this holiday, maybe Christmas, and sit down and just start it over and just really get into everything about it.
It feels like this holiday season is a little bit, right now, early in, it feels like it's empty of some new hits. And then when I look back at holidays in the past, like a couple years ago, there was that holiday where everybody was cutting out of family events early to watch Making a Murderer. I still haven't started season 2. That's one of my holiday projects that I got sitting in the pile. Last year for us, it was Black Mirror. Was that the first full Netflix season where Netflix got involved and they made like twice as many shows and put a little bit more money into it? I believe it was, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So last holiday season, we were watching Black Mirror, and it just seems like right now we're kind of absent of, is there going to be that like cultural, like media zeitgeist that everybody's talking about at the same time? But interesting, there is no Black Mirror, but they did put out a book where they gave a little bit of insight on some of the stories, where the series is going. And it's funny that they mentioned that your favorite episode, San Junipero, actually had to be pivoted and made differently because Westworld beat them to the punch.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting that as great as it is, then I start to think about when I hear that, like, well, where could we have gone if they had done what they wanted to do? Or do we not want them to do that?
Yeah.
Is it the way it is and the absolute best episode of Black Mirror because of how it is? And too much tinkering might have made me not love it. But I don't know. That's a great episode. I don't even think I would want to see any other option.
No, that is, first off, the casting on it is fantastic. The fact that they wanted to go back and do sort of like a retro episode, and forgive me for not knowing her name, but Mackenzie Davis is the quintessential hot chick from the 80s. There's something about her bone structure, her mannerisms. Like, she is the unattainable girl in every 80s movie. I don't know what it is about her, but she's got that vibe. And in *Halt and Catch Fire*, oh, did she hurt my heart.
You could almost go back into 80s movies and imagine her in those roles where you're like, oh, I dig that chick, like the lead in Valley Girl.
She 100% looks like, even though I don't even know she was born at the time, she could have been any of the leads in Some Kind of Wonderful. Like, she is that girl that would have went to their high school here in San Pedro. So the fact that what I loved about reading this story is that we all know, you see, because there's only so many ideas. Like, I was watching the Adam Sandler, what is it, 100% Fresh, his stand-up show that he did where he went back to being vulgar again, which is the best version of the Sandman.
Yes.
And he actually said a joke, which was been one of my jokes for a couple of years. And I said out loud in my chair, I was like, oh no, I've been using that, where he talked about, as you get older, your balls get bigger. And I've said for years that I'm all balls and no cock, and that my dick just looks like this little dude chilling out on these two big bean bags. And he said that almost verbatim. And I was like, oh man, now if I say that moving forward in the future, people are like, way to rip off the Sandman. But there's only so many ideas. So to hear that somebody like Black Mirror, where they're just doing genius next level, the modern version of the Twilight Zone, to hear that those people go, up, somebody just accidentally walked into our yard. We got to pivot a little bit and do something different. I found that to be like, hey man, we all have the same struggles as creatives.
And at least they spotted it and altered it, because if they had, then they would have to be defending themselves from innocence. And that's a bad position to be in when you really didn't know. I mean, that happens in like our world with like, a phrase or an idea or a pen or an illustration, and somebody's like, oh, somebody already did that. And they just assume you saw it when you didn't. And there's only so many ideas to go around, I guess.
Yeah. And I find a lot of times when fans call out the looks like, that's somebody who's only ever consumed and never really created. When a fellow creator, though, gets irritated with you because they think that you stole your idea, and it's not that. I mean, I would be the first person, if somebody's like, dude, you kind of ripped off my bit, I'd be like, yeah, I did. It was genius. And I made my own version of it. But I had a run in with a poster artist that got really, really quite bitchy. That's a bad word to say, but he got real. What's a better word than bitchy? Teach me.
More than bitchy? Oh God. See, all of them relate back around to females.
I know, that's the problem.
I was going to say catty, but that's the same.
Yeah. Cunty is one of my favorite terms, but that's not always appropriate.
I like that word, and I hate that people don't want to use it. I mean, it really, if there's a word that like is
shoots
just like,
through.
I would say dripping with texture, but now it sounds really bad too.
Dripping cunt.
It's I guess visceral is the 50 Cent word for it. Mm-hmm. It's like, boy, when somebody says that, it just hits you, that word. But we can't do that anymore either. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Well, anyways, this person went as far as out of their way to sign up fake email accounts to complain about how we had stole their idea. And it's so easy to bust a fake email account because every email account has a trace somewhere in the internet.
Man, I in previous life of Print Mafia got so many times people came to us about, oh, well, you're not original, you're not this, you're just doing what Chantry did, you're just taking Kozik's pop culture takes, this and that and the other. And I'll be like, man, I'm taking them, I'm fucking running with them. That's fine. And then so that when I took that stance, then I also had to take the stance of when people would come to me and go, oh, that looks like Print Mafia thing that somebody did or whatever, like tattletaling on somebody.
Right.
I'd have been like, they're just another build. They're like another Lego on top of the classic set. This is the expansion pack of what everybody's done from the beginning. We steal. I can't fault somebody for seeing something they like and going, I dig that. I feel it. I want to make it look, my stuff look like that. I can't fault anybody for that.
And you can always tell the difference between influence and outright stealing a concept. If you've ever tiptoed around that, if you're a creative, you're like, oh, this is a great idea. How can I reinterpret it? The links you got to go to reinvent an idea versus just stealing somebody else's. The quote from Black Mirror that I found interesting was what they wanted to do. They're like, we couldn't do this now because Westworld had already the idea of a theme park where you're essentially in heaven. all of your dead relatives and friends would be there and you'd go to visit them. So that thought stayed around for a while. And the notion that heaven that you got to go to as a holiday, like that's the original idea, is they wanted to make San Junipero like a theme park. But I think and I'm sure he was just talking in shorthand, but I think it was better the fact that they had to make it a little bit more mysterious, that it was a subconscious place that you went to.
Yeah, we had to figure it out in San Junipero of what was going on, which world was real, who was in it, are they in some fantasy version of themselves? They had the time travel aspect also. So,
right.
I'm down for anything with time travel. I'm not one of those people who analyzes it. I hate when somebody about time travel starts pulling the science book out on me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they've changed something. They're messed with the formula. You can't, the future's going to be wrong. Everything is wrong. I'm like, man,
just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. Just think, oh my God, Michael J. Fox almost banged his mom. How rad is that? Who wouldn't want to do that? Listen up, Circle of Trust members. It's your turn to share the faith, to share the strength of the Circle of Trust by wearing one of our beautiful Circle of Trust enamel pins. These are brooches made only for the bros that support the COT, girls included. Available in 2 styles, the Stealth Edition or the original gold numbered edition. Only available to Circle of Trust members. Show your pride, the brotherhood, by showcasing you're a proud member of the Circle of Trust. Pick one up today at aid.network/store. Circle of Trust pins are only available to Circle of Trust friends. Circle of Trust pins are made by PinGameStrong.com. Use coupon code AIDCOT to save on your next pin order. Here are our TV offerings for December, and I'm going to go through this really, really quick. Back in October, Disney did something that I'd want them to do, and I feel partially responsible for this. I've been a little bird chirping in the ear of people that make decisions over at Disney. They did a Halloween special where they actually showed how they decorate the park. And what they did that was crucial in this episode is they never said, go buy tickets to Disneyland. And I've told them for years, I'm like, just show people the magic, and we can figure out how to go there and buy. If you make it like the Christmas morning parade like it used to be, where it's an infomercial that makes people sick, it turns people off, it makes you look like capitalists. Show us the magic, we'll find out how to get to the castle. So they have a Disney Parks Presents a 25 Days of Christmas holiday party. I hope that it's just like the Halloween counterpart, and they show how they get the park all ready for the holiday season. If you've never been to Disneyland during Christmas, it's extremely busy, it's extremely magical.
Yeah, Disney sells itself. There's no reason to put
never need a commercial.
No secondary pitch in there. When I was little in the early 70s and mid 70s, when that 6:00 Sunday evening Walt Disney came on, are you kidding me? I mean,
yeah,
I could only imagine. We did go once to Disney World when I was little, but I could only imagine the world that I was seeing, just that little logo and the stuff happening at the beginning.
Yeah.
They had me right there.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to do anything else. I didn't need a commercial during that show saying how to get there and whatever. Of course, I was a kid. I couldn't do anything about it anyway. But I immediately would already go to my parents and be like, oh, I want to go to Disney World. I want to go to Disney World because of what they were presenting to me. There's something about that content that's so special that you don't need to sell it.
I remember being a kid and somehow at a yard sale coming across Viewmasters that was just like photos of Disneyland. And so you only could see this one little vignette that they were showing you. And I just kept thinking, all of these places somehow touch each other, and I'm just seeing the outside. Like, what does the inside of these grass huts look like? Or what, like, I can actually go up to the Swiss Family Robinson tree house and see like the overlook. So I hope that this is just like the series that they did back in October, which was really great. I watched it with my family, and my family was like, oh my God, this guy who decorates cakes for a living for Disneyland they were like, oh my God, they were just shitting all over him. Because to be fair, socially, he was a little bit off. But I sat in my chair and I go, I get you, dude. I understand you. I understand. Like, we are cut from the same cloth, fellow weirdo, except for my head is straight and his was like this crooked head cat I used to know. That's Saturday, December 1st.
I had those Viewmasters also, and I still have them. And my favorite thing about Disneyland, I've got a lot, but the favorite thing is the train.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Stacy and I will just ride that on a loop and keep riding and not even get off of the thing, because when you're in that train and you're going around and you go through those little vignettes, especially like the dinosaur stuff.
When you go to the Grand Canyon.
It looks like you're in a fucking Viewmaster.
It does.
Real.
It does.
And for me, that's like immersion, like heaven there. It's tying it all back to those little images that I saw, and then I'm in one of them, and it's as good as promised.
Well, 2 summers ago, they had to shut down the train for almost a year because they had to reroute its path. And the thing about a train is it needs to be a closed loop or it doesn't work. So due to Star Wars Land, they had to reroute it, and they took that opportunity to touch up, enhance, and make the Grand Canyon area even better than what it was before.
And it is it better?
Yes.
Because,
they added just enough magic to make it feel contemporary, but it's got enough nostalgia for us old timers.
Okay, I'll allow that then.
Yeah, approved. Connie approved. That special is Saturday, December 1st. They'll probably air it 100 different times. Something else that popped up for the month of December, and I'm not even putting these in any kind of ranking order because there's such a short pile. Wednesday, December 5th, The Marvelous Miss Maisel comes back to Prime Video. Is that a show that's worthy of my time?
Mark Bricky, you haven't watched this yet?
I push play and Beth goes, I don't know what this is. I'm not into it. And it just died there. And then she saw the commercial and goes, I don't know about this show, but I feel like I'd like it. I'm like, you showed it to you and you said no. Should we put this on our holiday ranking?
I got that little feeling in your chest when you get a really bad shock when you just said that, like that hollow feeling that comes in. like sit down for this news when you said that. We pressed play on that when the first season was, and watched about 4 or 5 in a row. Could not get enough. Got up and finished it the next day.
Okay.
It's all that you love about Mad Men plus.
Okay.
And the performances are great. People that I absolutely hate in everything else, like that guy that played Monk, Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah. I hate him.
I don't want to see him in anything.
Yeah.
Fantastic in this. Perfect. And I love the lead. I can't pronounce her last name. Rachel Brosnahan, I think it is.
She has such a great retro look to her.
It's just perfect for this. And she was in House of Cards. Remember, she's the lesbian that they did away with out in the desert.
Oh yeah. Speaking of House of Cards, I think I'm an episode and a half away from finishing it forever. And I have to say, this final season has been very hard to get through. I'm not one who's resistant to strong female leads. I really, really love it. But speaking of House of Cards, let me make a bad metaphor. They played their hand all wrong. Like, it should have been Claire Underwood going against men that think, well, now that a woman's president, we can just run a train right through her. We can just, take advantage of her and we can bully her out. And it should have been a her against them. And that would have given us all that have been heartbroken the last couple of years and months a real history could have been different. But they ended up making so many female villains and female accessories to her where it almost became like a cat fight. And what a completely wrong play of the moment to make it woman on woman sort of. It just made women look real catty. And like, if you put them at the top, they can't get along and they can't figure out the power, when it should have been Claire against the men. That would have been a better play, I believe.
Well, here's where my reality check comes in. That's how things are. And it's probably as realistic as it would be. It's hard for women to get along. Don't bash me, feminists, because I'm as feminist as they come. By being that feminist, I'm telling you the hard truth. It's hard for women to get along. It's hard for women in power to get along. It's very hard for attractive women to get along. Mm-hmm. Pretty girls will never really be friends. It's just a fact.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Is that a pin or a patch in your arsenal?
Probably.
It is?
Yeah.
Did you just sneak in a merch plug on the show? How dare you, Connie Collinsworth?
I said that to somebody in a text a couple of weeks ago, and then I put it in my notes. But it's sitting there in my...
so it's not manufactured yet?
Not manufactured.
Top of the heap. That is a great fucking quote.
Yeah. And people will go, oh, no, I have so-and-so, great friends, and they're all beautiful, attractive, successful, or whatever. Deep down in your heart, you really, the level of competition, it's who knows where it comes from. It's like innate. You're not a bad person for it. It's just the way you're built. It's in your coding. It's in your programming.
Way to bring it around. What a broadcaster. I'm a proud papa today.
It's just hard coded in. And I think it's going to be a long time. We're making the right strides with the younger generation of people. I see it in Tanner's friends and the younger, Stacy and I are friends with far more younger people than we are people our own age these days, kids in their 20s or whatever that are, around here that we are friends with in the early 30s. And I see a change, but not amongst people that are already in that, like the women who are already in that certain level. Yeah.
To be in that House of Cards track that Claire and her counterparts are in, without giving too much away, like those are people that would be in their 50s and would not be of the generation of my niece.
No, and by the time women get to, I'm 49, by the time you get to my age, unfortunately, because the competition is so hard and we have like such a ceiling and the forces are against us, you inadvertently step on a lot of other women sometimes to get there. But you have to, because the opportunities are so limited.
Interesting.
Oh my Lord, I'm going to get such trouble for this.
Dude, this is why I love being friends with you, because I was talking to Jim actually on the Jim Madison episode that I did. And I said to him that one of the things I value most about our friendship is just how you've really, more so than many other women in my life, you've given me a completely different perspective that I cherish. And like, I think probably you and Beth have given me the best female outlooks, and you're always so brutal with the hard truth. And when you and I were watching the Kavanaugh hearing and we were casting everybody, we're sitting back IMDb profiles like, oh, I'd cast this guy to be, Cory Booker and her to play Dr. Ford.
And my greatest one, Jennifer Beals for Kamala Harris.
It was amazing.
Perfect.
And we said Alyssa Milano could play herself. And then we talked about how hot she was for about 15 minutes. But
we went through a lot of like librarian with the glasses scenarios
God,
with her.
Sexy librarian.
It was such a bad conversation.
I mean,
but it was
literally a woman is trying to like when we were going down that road, I'm like, there's a place in hell for us and I can't wait to go together. But at the end of it all, I said, so what do you think? Me being the dumb guy, I was very ambitious. I'm like, she was so credible. It seemed so real. He was just a complete fucking asshole. And you just wrote me back. Like, I didn't even see the 3 little bubbles that meant you were thinking. You just wrote me back immediately. She'll lose. The woman always loses.
The woman always loses.
Yeah. That's not going to be one of your more popular patches, but you should make that one too.
It's in the notes. If you guys could peek into my notes on my phone, getting an iPhone with the notes capability has like been the craziest thing, because I'll just put the little phrases in there and stuff and come back and sit on them for a little bit and think about them. But yeah, that's in there. The woman always loses. And it's a bad thing to think about, but it's a good thing to remind yourself.
Yeah. I didn't have that perspective, but when you said it to me, it was literally like you put a dagger in my heart, because, my life's been a certain way. And I want to think that it can be that way for everybody. And to have that outlook, I was like, oh, fuck, that's so brutal. But who am I to argue with this perspective? Because guess who would know? Connie would know.
And we all watched it. And then just like a TV program, we can right now go ahead and put that little thing at the end where the screen goes to black and they tell you what happened. And guess what? The woman lost.
Yeah. You absolutely called it. Getting back to our TV countdown. This is, I'm stretching here. It's called Bad Blood, Friday, December 7th, Netflix. Are you ready for this? Canadian organized crime drama. The nicest country on planet Earth. Hey, so we're going to be organized criminals, which means we're going to go ahead and politely tell you cops that we're going to rob this bank on Friday at 4:15. So be out front if you want to catch us. Hey, we're going to be over there. We'll be wearing those ski masks for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
What are they going to do? Smuggle hugs and kisses across the border? That's how Canadians are. We
got a train full of bootleg maple syrup, and we're going to try to get it into Wisconsin by midnight. It actually has the stars Kim Coates, which you may know as Tig from Sons of Anarchy. Mm-hmm. So I guess he kind of went to the CFL and he got to be the star when he went there.
Yeah. Yep. How many interceptions is he going to throw, though?
Woo! So there you go. There is something else. And then I got 2 more for you. Okay. Technically, this is a movie, but Netflix has a movie called Dumplin', which has... What's that?
Dolly Parton?
Yes.
Okay.
It features new recordings from Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
And it has Jennifer Aniston in it, as well as the young lady, Danielle MacDonald, who played Patty Cakes. I don't know if you saw Patty Cakes. That was kind of a wild watch.
I didn't see it, but I'm familiar with what it is.
Yeah. So that's Friday, December 7th. They look mildly entertaining, but hey, I'm scraping the barrel. And then one last one for you. Sunday, December 9th, and then TV is dead for the year. New TV is dead for the year. I don't have the Stars channel. I got about everything else other than Stars. But J.K. Simmons has a TV series. This is the second season. It's called Counterpart, where he plays two versions of himself. It's a sci-fi show where he has this dual role. I really wanted to see season 1. I found out it was on Stars, and I said, no more subscriptions. I'm not buying a channel just for a show.
I've got Stars, so I might need to magically share that info with you. I'm not familiar with that, but I like a lot of Stars stuff, and I like him. And again, okay, you said sci-fi, magic words. I'm glad we're having this sci-fi renaissance that isn't like bad, low budget sci-fi. Like we're getting back to, when it seemed like when we were kids, we had Space 1999, Planet of the Apes.
A lot of it was really bad.
Bad looking back now, but yeah, maybe you're right. But I'm glad that we're coming back around. There's a lot of sci-fi stuff going on, like Stranger Things. That's a sci-fi show.
Sure.
Westworld it's a Western as much as it's a sci-fi to me. I have people who say, well, I like Westerns, but I don't like sci-fi. Well, this is, that's a good combination of the two, but I have not seen that, but it sounds interesting.
The sci-fi genre, it's an ambitious thing to pull off, and it needs money. And I find that the thing that we can all learn from sci-fi is that you have to build into whatever your strong suits are. So let's say that you're making an indie sci-fi movie. The worst thing you could do is say, we're going to go to a different planet and have a rocket ship, because the amount of money it would take to create a different planet and a rocket ship would be horrible. But if you use LA that you live in as an alternate LA that exists on another planet where everything looks like ours, but it's different, now you've made something that you can afford to do, and you can make it. So I think that for all of us, what we can learn from sci-fi is successful when it leans into what it has going for it. Don't bite off more than you can chew, because you'll always fail in sci-fi.
Remember that movie from the 80s, Night of the Comet?
No, I do not.
Oh, well, anyway, I think it's set in LA, and they did a thing to make LA look like it was kind of had altered and changed overnight by this comet hitting, by just shooting everything at fucking the most beautiful sunsets ever, and then like skewing the colors to where you got lots of really bold magentas and golds and things. So yeah, that's the example of what you're talking about. Like, just, you can be sci-fi and not necessarily mean we have to travel to the moon or whatever. Your sets, you could do something that's just inside, but make everything mid-century modern, and that's the future too.
Right. I believe an indie film that did what I was talking about is there was a film, I want to say it was called Another Earth, where it was literally, it just looked like our Earth, but they spent a little bit of budget putting, I believe, a second moon in the sky. So it was just kind of enough to remind you that they were someplace that was different than ours. And I always find that, whenever you're trying to create something, either as a content creator or as a designer, photographer, whatever it is that your medium is, you got to figure out a way like, well, these are the things that I have. These are my resources. What's the best I can do with these? Because if you go outside of that, it's always going to end up looking cheap and pathetic. Hey friends, thank you so much for hanging out with Connie Collinsworth and I today. I hope you're enjoying this conversation. Always like getting together with Connie. She has such a great view on the world of TV entertainment, and just like me, always approaches it from the creative's perspective, right? I mean, she's dangerously, well, we don't say how old a lady is. She said it today, but she's been around. We'll put it that way. She's been around, and she's a seasoned veteran in the world of creative, one of the first generation OG poster makers. She's been an entrepreneur for years and always takes that sort of insight and puts it into the way that she sees entertainment. Coming up for Circle of Trust members, we have over an hour more of show today just for you to hang out, learn about some great TV shows to watch as your year quiets down, and you get a little bit more time to spend with the family, as well as a couple of creative ideas that we kick around in the COT about where we think entertainment can go. And I have a show pitch for Connie. I don't know if you heard earlier or not, but I'm super excited to announce that I'm working on the first ever Circle of Trust training camp. where 10 students will be hanging out with me for 10 weeks, once a week, to get together for a video conference and work over all the different obstacles that face us. Look, it's not easy turning a daydream into a day job, but if we work together, we can make it a little bit easier. If you want to find out more about the Circle of Trust training camp, reach out to me at aid.network/contact. Okay, what do you say we get into part 2? To hear it, you know the drill. Go to aid.network, become a member of the Circle of Trust, support the second half of content, as well as all of the content on the AID network. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you even more for being a member of the Circle of Trust. Let's jump into part 2 with Connie Collinsworth and myself. It's comment below December TV offerings and top 20 streaming episodes thus far, according to some random dude at Rolling Stone magazine. Enjoy. All right, here's what I have for us to go over. Over on Rolling Stone, they made a list. Their TV person made a list of the top 20 streaming shows thus far. And this is, I'll read this paragraph to you from their critic, whose name is Alan Sepinwall. This is the crux of what we're going to review. Here I am only considering series developed by and for Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu. So Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt doesn't count, as its whole first season was made to air on NBC. Catastrophe, which I love, and Fleabag would rank very high, but both are international shows that Amazon just owns the streaming rights to. Same for Netflix and Babylon Berlin. With those caveats in mind, let the countdown and the debates begin. So this is Rolling Stone's TV critic, his top 20 streamers. Are you ready to begin?
Are we starting at 20 and working up?
Always. Casey Kasem rules. Always,
All right.
Connie.
All right.
You know, the thing about counting up, which I love, and whenever I would go to the NFL Power Rankings, I would load the page and scroll down as fast as possible because I wanted to see the worst team. Like, if you start with the best, then everything else feels like shit. You got to work your way up to the number one. Even though people like Billy that just want to argue, be like, well, what are we counting up? We're not really counting down. Fuck them. All right. Number 20. I already disagree with this list. Jessica Jones.
I'm a fan of Jessica Jones.
You're a fan.
Yeah. The only other one of this group of groupings of shows that I watched was a little bit of Luke Cage. But I like Jessica Jones. And maybe I haven't been drawn to the other ones because unlike them, like Jessica Jones, it's not female driven. But I like Jessica Jones. I like the lead actress. I like her little friend. I'm super into her storyline on this, but it's one that I can put on and work with. And I don't know if maybe that's a bad thing, because if I do miss a few things here and there in it, it doesn't derail me from the story.
Right.
And maybe that means it's not as good as I think it is. But
doesn't mean you have to go spend 8 hours of your life watching Daredevil to get a one scene to know why a briefcase is important.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Speaking of female superheroes, Sony has announced that they're going to build out their Spider-Man universe with a Spider-Woman film.
Okay, I'm interested in Spider-Man again then.
Sony Pictures is taking its Spider-Man universe into a new direction. The studio is working on an animated Spider-Woman film that will focus on 3 generations of women with Spidey powers. Beck Smith will write the script. There you go. Animated. I wish it was real. I wish it was live action.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
So there you go. One of these 3 characters could very well be Spider-Gwen. I don't know if you know who Spider-Gwen is, but she's super popular in the comic book world.
No, I'm not a comic book person at all. I like my video. I like to watch stuff. Not that I don't like to read, but I'm not a comics person. I wish I was. I know there's a world there that I would probably love to be in, but again, I'm too far. I can't go back and get at number 1 of anything and start over. And I'm a completist, so I'll just leave it for the Billy Bobbins.
That is what's kept me out of the world of comics, because it doesn't feel like you can be a completist, because there's so many titles. They reinvent them. Like it, I never could figure out where to start or where I was going. So I just said, this is easier for me to just slide out of the room.
Yeah, when they announced the live action Batwoman on the CW, totally into that. I watched several of those shows. So then I asked a few of my comic book friends, where do I go to start and get this story? I want to be, prepared when this starts up. And they started talking an offshoot of this and then this version and from here to here and then over. And I was like, I'm out.
It's too much.
Yeah.
I feel like the supply and demand with comics is all wrong. It's just an oversupply. Number 19. All right, I'm arguing with this list. The Kaminsky Method.
That's recent, right?
Yeah,
That's
Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin, like the old Grumpy Guy show.
Yeah, I've seen it on my menu, but I haven't. Nothing drew me in when I saw it. It's sitting there in the menu with the two of them sitting there, so I haven't looked at it.
I'm 0 for 2 on this top 20 here. 18 Casual on Hulu.
Do you watch Casual?
No, should I?
I recommended that to you like a couple of years ago, I think, when we started our Hulu relationship. But it's one of my things that as soon as it comes on, I watch it. It's over now, so you got the complete. You can look at it and go from
this. Is this the reality show?
No, this is the one. I think it would be a good Beth show because, like when I recommended Transparent to you, and I said it's like an indie. This is like an indie. They could have made a great hour and a half Sundance movie out of this. It has what's her name? Michaela Watkins. Are you familiar with her? Mm-hmm. She is in it. And the lead guy, I don't know anything else that he's been in, but he's super watchable. Everyone in it, it's about a guy who owns or created an algorithm for a dating site.
Okay.
But yet cannot find any sort of happiness in his own dating life because he's he's a horrible person and knows it.
I love horrible people.
Oh, this show is full. Everyone in it is absolutely horrible, and you will come to love every one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to agree with this being on the list. I like that they've put something up that it's not popular. It doesn't make the list. It's not a water cooler show, but I preach this one to everybody.
Number 17 on this list, Bosch. I've seen this around before. It's like a dark crime type show, and I recognize a couple of people that were kind of like third outs from Sons of Anarchy, but I've yet to really find like a good action drama on the streaming services that I love.
Isn't the main guy in this one of the two guys from Lost, in white and black? He's the guy in black.
Is that who he is?
Yeah, I think that's the main dude in this. But no, I've not watched it.
I know that it's been around. It's one of those things that's kind of existed in the background of my life for a while. Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I put this up there with The Man in the High Castle. Like, I know that it's there. I've just never been intrigued enough to hit play.
Man in the High Castle seems to hit all my points. And I should have stayed on the first season. I watched the first two, and I was intrigued and then got away from it. But anyway. I don't know anything about Bosch other than that guy, but it's not on my list to go back to.
Okay, 16. We've struck gold here. Now I'm back on good terms with this guy.
Way too low.
For what? 16?
Yeah.
Mindhunter.
Way too low.
I love Mindhunter. Do you have this list in front of you?
I pulled that up, yeah.
You cheat. You cheat. Don't look ahead. I love the shock and awe. Mindhunter. Okay, what do you think about Mindhunter? You love that show?
That thing, I've watched it a couple times. You can tell if I like one if I put it back on after my first watching, and then I'm like, this is something I feel comfortable with to sit and work with, and maybe I'll pick up other things or whatever. So I think I've seen it 3 times. Stacy watched it, loved it. Tanner, everybody in my household loves this one. I can't wait for it to come back. Anytime there's like side news on, a BuzzFeed article comes up about it, I'm in on it. It's stylish. I like all the people in it. I love the music. I love the serial killer aspect.
Yeah.
I love the time period. I love the electronics and the way they weave those into the transitions in the show. Mm-hmm. I could probably talk about this one forever. So.
I'm very excited about this show. I do believe that I can't wait to see what he's got above this show, because to me, this would probably easily top 10, possibly top 5. Wonder when this show comes back. I feel like I've been waiting for it to pop back up for quite some time now.
I've seen a few little interviews with the cast recently, so I think they're starting to build up. We'll probably get an announcement soon, I hope.
I really like the older cop. He was on a show on FX that only had 1 season that really was called Knockout, where he played sort of like an aging boxer. And I really really, really enjoyed it in one season, and FX was just like, we're done with it. And I was bummed because I thought it was a really, really good show. Moving up our list, number 15. This one won't win me over. I can't watch anything that's too aristocrat. The Crown on Netflix. That's
man.
That
again,
Downton Abbey. It's way too outside of my realm.
This isn't Downton Abbey at all.
I got you.
It's now Downton Abbey would be a totally different show if we set that in like the inner city. The Crown is another one that we will watch it in 2 days. Like when it comes out, we'll watch and
really
finish out the next. Oh, absolutely.
Is it bougie?
No, it's not. It's again, people like we're getting an inside look at people who are up on a pedestal, and we're seeing how horrible they can be.
Oh, I love that.
And how sad it is to be trapped in a life in a life that you can absolutely not get out of.
Right.
And the one example of someone who did get out of it, who abdicated, is also portrayed in this. So you see then that it's just like any family. They're just any family, but we happen to know historically about them, and then they weave how they deal with all this, war and scandals and stuff. I think you would really enjoy it, and the acting is absolutely top notch. Claire Foy is so good.
Do they speak modern dialogue, or is it?
Oh yeah, it's
period?
Not like a. It's not. No, it's very watchable. It's
okay.
not. It's not Shakespeare or anything. I mean, it's from the the 30s and 40s up.
Right.
So it's what they're doing with it though is we've had the cast that we've had for 2 seasons, and then they're switching over, being logical, not just putting makeup on Claire Foy to age her and change her.
They're actually getting different actors.
They're changing the cast.
Oh wow, interesting.
When it starts back up, there will be a whole new cast.
Interesting.
Moving through the history of the royal family.
Huh. Yeah. And does this royal family get along with the Romanovs?
I don't think so.
Romanov started out really good. We've been stalled at about episode 4. I think Beth might be on the ropes. It feels like it's running out of gas as we're getting to the finish line.
We watched the first 4, and then we're not compelled to go on in, but it's sitting there because we got into other things that we're more excited about.
So you're right where I'm at. You're just kind of teetering with like a couple more left.
Right. But then I've seen the trailers coming up, and I noticed that Stan from Mad Men is going to pop up in one of these, and I love that guy, that actor. So, but yeah, it's one of those that it's sitting there waiting on me, but I'm not on fire like I was after the first couple of them.
Right.
Okay, I want your feelings on that 3rd episode, the Christina Hendricks actress.
Oh, I thought it was very bad. I thought it was such a long way to go. Like, basically, when you get to the punchline or the finish of that episode, contextually, the whole hour 20 that you set through had nothing to do with that.
No, I feel like it was a reach to keep a storyline in and of the just people connected to the Romanovs, and then trying to find some clever art film way to make it interesting. And you could have done that episode in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and maybe
absolutely.
it would have been compelling. It was nice to see her in something.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to see her, but to me, the one that made that episode different is all these other episodes. I didn't really care where the story went because I just was enjoying spending time with the characters. But in that one, there wasn't really that push and pull of, oh, wow, these two are having an affair. That's so despicable. Tell me more. You know what I mean? And what I think Matthew Weiner does so well is he exposes that deviant behavior that's threaded in society. And he sort of finds those people that are horrendous people and shines a light on it. And in this, you just didn't care about anybody.
I think episode 4 was a comeback, though, with Amanda Peet. That episode was good.
Yeah. It was better. It was better.
Where she's a woman who has a lie that she says it, and it starts out as a small lie, but then it became so much more enormous. And how many of us haven't been in that situation where there's something and you're like, I could have gotten out of this a long time ago, and now I'm in it and I can't get out.
Yeah, you just keep digging that ditch. Moving up our countdown, number 14, Lady Dynamite. Have not seen it.
Is that the one with the comedians on Netflix? Lady Dynamite.
I'm looking it up right now. Lady Dynamite. The problem is there's just so much stuff that if it doesn't catch you right out of the gate, you're just out.
I feel like this one isn't current because I think I know which show you're talking about, and I tried to watch a couple episodes because Jim was very much into it, and I didn't go. It didn't go anywhere for me.
This is something I was thinking that this was more of a block show, but there's like a Barbie doll chick on the cover of it, so I have no idea what this is. It's completely out of my reach.
The only thing that may draw you into it is I think the like a side character in it is the lady from Camping that owns the campground, Bridget Everett.
Yeah.
I think she's in Lady Dynamite.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of those. It's for me. It falls into that Portlandia, goes too far to be a hip comedy show.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Not for me.
Did you watch Love on Netflix?
Yeah, I did not like Love.
We loved it.
Yeah. At the same time, there was another show running called Easy.
Didn't see that one.
Okay, put that one on your list.
All right.
Little 27-minute, 30-minute.
Perfect dinner time show.
Anthology show, but there's some characters that stream through, and then when you get into the second season, we pick back up on the same characters. I kind of like that thing. So yeah, put that one on. I did not like Love. Here's what happened to me, actually. I was watching Easy. And you know how Netflix will, like, if you just keep watching, like when it gets to the end, it'll just go into another show.
Yeah, I turned that off.
And yeah, I need to do that too because I didn't realize, and I watched 3 episodes of Love before I figured out I wasn't feeling Easy. I was so mad because there's that guy that's in Love that I do not like, and I was like, oh fuck, he's in this show now. And then I was like, oh wait a minute, I'm not even watching Easy anymore.
That's some hardcore TV watching right there. Number 13 in our countdown, Glow over on Netflix. Now, I thought season 1 was fantastic. We watched it in a weekend. Season 2, I gave up after I think 2 or 3 episodes because they kept doing this montage of putting the girls in a crazy thing, and I didn't feel like they had a good story to tell. So many listeners argued with me and said, you got to go back in. You got to finish season 2. It gets better. But I have no inspiration at all to hit play on it because it just burned me on those first 3 episodes. Like at the end of 3 episodes, I said, I literally don't care about any of these people or where it's going. They just lost all of my equity that I built into the show.
We stuck with it in season 2 because we loved season 1 so much, and I was hopeful for it. I don't agree with those people that got back with you. Like, I think you, and I know by knowing you, it won't redeem itself for you.
Okay.
So don't devote any more of your time to it because have they even announced a season 3 yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so because I think it's like it just lost its way, and riding high on the success of, it being a water cooler show and critically, acclaimed and popular. I think they were like, what can we do this season? Fucking just keep doing what you did the first season.
The struggle. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah. And they didn't. And so I don't think we were left at the end of season 2. You don't know this, but we were left also not knowing what the fate of the thing was. And so, people driving off on a bus somewhere and you don't know if they're going to their future or if what's going to happen. So I don't go back to that one.
Yeah, it just didn't have that struggle. And when they were doing those montages, like one was the ad at the mall, and then the other one was like the pregnancy one, and it was like goo goo gaga, don't have a baby. Oh, I'm like, this is literally, they just now think we'll watch anything. Like they think that they're so popular that we'll watch them do anything. It's like, no, man, there was a really good come up underdog, like not letting LA get the best of you, going to the big city and trying to make it. They were all outcast in season 1. And now they're just like this weird crew of people. And I just didn't care for it. Number 12 on our countdown, The Marvelous Miss Maisel. It keeps popping up on us.
I think that one should be in the top 10, but I'll be just happy that they've included it because those Amazon Prime shows, sometimes they get left to the side, and I guess all the Emmy awards and different awards for this one have helped get it out there a little more. I think that this one should be in the top 10, but I'll give it that.
Netflix does seem to, they're for sure the king of the stream, and Amazon Prime seems like it's always kind of playing second fiddle. But if you look at it pound for pound, they have really created some serious hits.
They're the Coke and Pepsi of streaming. I mean, Netflix was just there, and it's known, like, any soda is a Coke. So, you don't say it. You don't say, I want, hey, get me a Pepsi, and like expect that whatever it is, it's Pepsi's its own specific thing and has its people that love it too. But there's very different ways they do things. And with these two streaming, different subject matters, different depth to the shows that they do. You get a lot more like historical stuff, I think, on the Amazon Prime shows.
I also think that Netflix has a better interface. Like it feels like when you're there, you're at a space. It feels like you're at like, the digital version of like what Blockbuster used to be, right? Like you're in this room full of videos and you want to watch them all. But Prime, Amazon as a company has a very horrible aesthetic. Like it took me years to even shop with them because I hated the website so much. It looked like an even worse version of eBay, which was one of the grossest things I'd ever seen. And I am definitely somebody who shops on aesthetics. So for me to sort of go away from the beautiful interface of iTunes to go over Prime, it's all about content. It was transparent that got me to walk through the door. And now I actually rent and buy most of my movies through Prime just because it's easy. I got a little bit of a problem with Apple TV and my setup. It's not built into my TiVo. My TiVo houses all of these apps except for iTunes. So to go to iTunes, it's like you got to go to a whole different input. And so I just kind of stay in Prime and Hulu and Netflix over there. Number 11. This is going to be too low for many of our listeners. Stranger Things at 11. What's this top 10 going to be?
Yeah, if you're looking at like a streaming show and taking the things that make them popular into the context of making a list like this, Stranger Things has to hit all those criteria.
Yeah.
Why is it down there and not in the top 10? That would, it gets young people. It gets like the millennials. It gets old fogies like us. It has something that attracts everybody.
I think about it this way. If I had made the horrible decision in my life of having children, Stranger Things would be great because I could be like, this is what it was like when I was 10 or 12. And I could watch it with my family. We could get invested in the characters. We could care about season 3. We could order in pizza because Beth's not here tonight. And we could talk about where we think that it's going to go. Like me and my fictitious children, we fucking love Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's way too low on this. There's just I love when a show like you don't know why, but you feel like you're pulled into it, like you're immersed into it. Like I want to go in those kids' houses.
Yeah. I want to be in that little town in Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely. Second season for me was a little bit of a less of a pull.
They lost their way a little bit.
Yeah, I think they were getting it back there at the end. That shit at the prom dance thing, and then Steve sitting there giving the hair tips to
dude. And that prom, I was just sitting in my dad chair, face full of tears.
Yeah.
That's you want to go anywhere as John Hughes, I'll fucking follow you, man.
Absolutely.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We got 10 more to count down, but Daddy's got rent to pay. So we're going to do part 2 of the countdown for members of the Circle of Trust. Sign up today to listen to part 2 of the best streaming shows thus far, according to a dude over at Rolling Stone. And I'll tell you this much. Holidays are coming up. You're going to want to have some stuff to stream. So you're going to want to hang out with us, see what these are. And also in part 2 today, I want to talk about the anthology series. We're starting to see this happen more and more and more. I feel like I have a great idea for an anthology series that I want to pitch to my partner in crime, Connie Collinsworth. All that available in part 2 today. Sign up over at AID.network. Thank you for supporting Adventures in Design and comment below. All right, let's get into the top 10. There's some wild ones that have been thrown out. I can't wait to see where it goes. Number 10, Homecoming on Amazon. Oh, fell right into my trap. Now, careful what you say, woman. I'm on episode 4.
Oh, okay. I watched it all in one sitting one night, the night it came on.
If Beth wasn't watching it with me, this would have been gone in easily a week ago. But she's getting hooked. She was like, around episode 3, she's like, this is a make or break episode for me. At the end of it, she said, I'm all in. Now, I'll tell you who this show's perfect for. I'm not a huge Julia Roberts fan, although it seems like she's been doing some good stuff as of late. This show's perfect for you. If you like a show that you have to try to figure out what's going on. If you don't want to know what's happening, but you want to follow the breadcrumb trail, this is a show for you. It's also a show for anybody who ever loved Alfred Hitchcock. The way that it's framed, the way that they use the music. It's a modern show, but they use a lot of antiquated camera techniques and soundtracking, and the set design on it is absolutely always symmetric and beautiful. So it's a really fun show to watch on 2 levels. The story thus far has been fantastic, but the way that it's crafted is for people that love cinema.
And cinema, particularly, not just necessarily TV.
No,
it's
cinema,
like,
yeah.
It's like watching like a Stanley Kubrick
Yes.
film for me. I am a Julia Roberts fan. I pretty much think she can do no wrong. I bet she's not like a really nice person, though.
No.
She doesn't come off that way. But I don't care. I'm fine with that. Homecoming was great. I think the day it came out or the next day, I said, during that break, Stacey being off, I said, hey, let's check out that Julia Roberts show. And we put it on, and it's unusual for her to not want to, during the end of a first episode, just kind of get up and mill around and do something else.
Right.
And she was like, well, what's this? What's going on here? What do you think? Well, instantly when she starts with those questions,